My name is Marquesa Pettway. I'm out of New York City. I'm a business reinvention expert, and I help entrepreneurs create six-figure signature systems. I call it the moneymaker of their business. I'm also a proud member of NSA, CSP, and I have my own column in Speaker Magazine called the Speaker Toolkit. And part of why I founded and created this column was I wanted to interview the superstars in NSA and really get into their head about their best strategies and best practices that has led to their success in this industry. So today is no different. I have a wonderful guest. She is awesome. Her name is Laurie Guest. Guys, she's a 20-year member of NSA. I didn't even know that. I already know.
Almost. 6 more months.
You're going to get that pin soon.
That's right.
She's an expert in customer service and humorous keynotes. And I've heard her speak in New York City. She is funny. She's known for a wonderful keynote she gave at the 2015, we call it Influence 15 now, conference titled Sweet Spot Pricing, where she just kind of broke down to all of us as professional speakers how you can really lay out your price and make it easier for your client to choose, and got major props for that. And today, here's my question for Laurie, guys. She's going to break it down for us and pull back the curtains. I want to know a big move, and this is really, I think, so appropriate for you being in this business for as long as you have, but a big move you made that's made a big difference in your business. It was a risk, frankly. And first of all, what was that big move? What need were you trying to fill to, that kind of gave you the idea, like, I'm going to do it, I'm going to make it happen, and then get us to that result. So you got it.
All right. Well, I feel that my big, dangerous move was to create divisions in my little, small, one-person company. And the idea actually originally came from a session I sat through with Nito Quabain years ago when I was a really green speaker. And he talked about that wealth comes from diversification. And he had all these different ways that income streams come into his world, but they're in these really big, gigantic ways. We've got Harvest Bread Company stock, and he's the president of High Point University. And, he has all these, what I consider really big ways of having income. And I went home and I thought, how can I take his big idea and shrink it down to a little idea for me? And what I decided is, divisions would do this for me. And the reason is because I was a humorous keynoter at the time, and all of my branding, my website, my outbound marketing efforts, everything was focused on hire a funny lady to come in and keynote your event. But on the other side, I had deep content on sales and customer service. That really was my original background. But I was having so much fun making people laugh that I slowly kind of let that go. And I realized that it cannot be the same brand for those two things. One is the funny keynoting side, but yet I had this huge reservoir of material on customer service. And I thought, if Nito can do three totally different jobs, why can't I have two totally different jobs underneath one umbrella? Kind of like the Nestle Corporation. They've got the big Nestle umbrella, but they sell everything from water to diapers to pizza, and you wouldn't market those products in the exact same way. And that's the big idea I stole about 4 years ago, and it has just launched me into a whole new stream of ideas and revenue and all kinds of cool stuff.
Now, what's interesting is we have a lot of speakers that are listening at different levels. And one thing that we've just been taught through the years, just be focused. Do not try to serve different markets or do too many things, because then you got to break yourself up and have a whole marketing and sales plan for that. So what made you, understanding Nito Quabain, who I know very well, but Nito also has a staff. He has someone that runs that Harvest Bread Company, someone as the president of High Point University. He has a huge staff. So how do you do that without all of that support, Laurie? How did you?
I'm tired. That's how I wish I had support staff. But I think as speakers, any idea that we find, figure out how to take it and shrink it down to what works for you. And so although I am a one-person show without a staff, I do use some, independent contractors for different things, but for the most part, there is only one paycheck coming out of here. And that's a model I liked. And so I did not want to get so big that all of a sudden I've got 3 or 4 salaries that I'm paying. That just wasn't my model. It may be for many, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it wasn't for me. So in answer to your question, the reason that I did it is, even though I'm a one-person show, if you want to come and buy funny keynotes from me, you're expecting to see something that fits what you're looking for, whether that be the demo video, the branding on the website, the words that I say, how I sell to you, what I do when I get there. You have an expectation. And now if we flip over and we look at this customer service side that has a deep online learning platform with it, it has secret shopping, it has all kinds of things that have nothing to do with being funny, you're going to expect something totally different. So here's the biggest pushback I got from people I really respect in the speaking field. This really tanks your SEO, because I've split everything. So it's a different URL. It's a different everything. It's 2 very separate companies. In fact, the secret shopping side, if you went to my website, you can't even tell it's me. My name is nowhere on there on purpose, because I need the anonymity in performing the task that I need to do. So I might be judged. If you check me out, you might think I'm only a humorous keynoter. I'm okay with that. I'm not building this business on SEO. I mean, yes, that's a wonderful thing to do for some, but that's not how I build my company. So whenever people push back on me like, wow, you're just destroying your SEO because everything's divided, I wasn't getting a lot of business that way anyway. That's not where my footprint is. Does that make sense?
Oh, perfect sense. Perfect sense. Now, Laurie, what's been the results of this since you decided to break it down into 2 sides?
Well, what I've been amazed at is how easy it is to move a caller from one side of the fence to the other. So let's pretend that you were planning a corporate event and you thought you were calling a funny keynoter. And we talk and I try to sell that keynote and it looks like I'm going to get the sale made. I try and get the sale made for what you originally called for first. Then once I feel that I've gotten the yes out of you, then Marquesa, I might say something like, as you've been talking to me, I really get a sense that you want to do a deep dive also with sales and marketing. Let me tell you about another program we have that may fit in. And what's happened is I've been able to increase my contract size by offering something that comes from the other side. Now, I don't go into a deep description of that to you, the client, because you don't care. So if I end up signing everything on the humorous keynote side, but yet I've eked out some additional work on the other side, I don't, does that make sense? I don't really I don't need to explain all that to you. This is what I consider an inner working big move. And more than anything else, it's a mindset between the ears for me, because I didn't have to bring somebody to one site and try to explain what I do. It's important. Here's something really interesting. I think people find this fascinating. 3 or 4 years ago, whenever our conference, our Influence conference was in San Diego, I was doing a breakout. And I bet you don't know this. Anybody who was pre-registered for that conference by the deadline date, we secret shopped you as a speaker. So I secret shopped.
I think.
Yeah. And we secret shopped over 800 people who were registered for the NSA convention. Wow. And what I learned was, there are a ton of people that when you get to their website, you can't figure out what exactly they do because they've got everything in the kitchen sink. So when we tell people pick a lane, know which horse you're riding, whatever metaphor you want to use, I agree with that. And that if I go to your site and I can't tell whether you're a time management consultant or a yoga teacher or a firefighter, if I can't tell what you are, it's really hard for me to hire you, which leads me to the defense of why there's 2 divisions. If you go to my humorous side, you'll know exactly what I'm doing. I'm doing a keynote to make you laugh and get results that you want. And if you go to the other side, you're going to tell that what we're all about is sales and customer service. My message became clearer because there's 2 divisions.
And then here's the question. I think you said this already, but I just want to clarify. They come in through one door, and then once they're there, just like you said, you're increasing the contract size and you're leveraging that client. Then you bring them through the other door.
If it's a match. Yeah, absolutely. If it's a match. But if I'm talking to you and you wanted me for deep sales and customer service and you have no interest in somebody being funny, yes, I'm going to make a delightful program. That's a given. We all should be doing that. But if you weren't hiring me for the edutainment side, and I can tell from my sales call with you, you don't really have a need for that, then I wouldn't even mention the other side. So it really is, we go through the back door if we need the back door. And I think that's a really important piece in our sales process, to listen for what is really being asked of us before we start saying, well, I do this and I do that and I charge this and I charge that. If we're going to be good at sales, we got to do a lot of listening before we do the talking. And speakers aren't very good at that. We like to talk.
Absolutely true. And I love this too. I was going to ask you, in addition to this big move, you've been in this industry for a long time, almost 20 years. And that takes a person that understands how to work in their business and on their business, and really clear about how to have staying power in this field. What would you say are a couple of your best practices outside of the big move?
Sure.
Some of your best practices, or something that's really worked for you?
I think one of the things that's helped me sustain in this business is I am really clear about what works for me. And I've worked really hard, especially over the last decade, to listen to what others are doing, pull out the pieces that might apply to me, and let the rest go. Mm-hmm. And every time we go to one of our sessions, there's phenomenal people going to be on the platform and in the breakouts, and they're going to have tons of, you should do it this way. And I got swept up in that. In the first 5 to 10 years, I was constantly switching gears. Maybe I should do this. Well, if he does that, maybe I should, or she does that. I mean, I was switching all the time. And somewhere along the line, I got braver. I got braver about, you know what? I don't care what you're doing, Marquesa. Fantastic if that's working for you. But for me, this works. And that's how the sweet spot pricing came to be, is when other people said, oh, well, that's never going to work because of this and this. Great. But for me, I was able to find gap money. I was able to close more deals. And that gave me confidence to keep moving forward. So in answer to your question, I think my 3 best practices are: 1, I got really clear on what worked for me and quit chasing those shiny objects that distract us. Mm-hmm. That's hard to do. Number 2, this is a big one. I associate with people who think like I do, and I remain kind to those who don't. So in other words, I'm going to be nice to everybody. I think we all need to be kind to each other. And I'm not going to choose camps, and I'm not going to try and ruffle feathers, but I am going to spend my quality time sitting down at tables and listening and learning from people who think like I do or have similar values. And I think that who we hang out with at the lunch table helps create who we are. I think that's important.
That's great. And what was number 3? You gave me 2. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me think about what number 3 is. I think number 3 is I have tried to be creative wherever I can. Mm-hmm. To not do the same thing that everybody else is doing. So when I am in that sales call, without dissing anybody else, I don't say, oh, well, so-and-so does. I don't do that. I say, here's one way that I feel my program can be different than some of the other programs you've had. And different to me might mean going in without a PowerPoint on occasion when everybody else before me has been using tons and tons of PowerPoint. Or it might be an activity, a very creative, unique, one-of-a-kind game that I invent and use from time to time. It's always keeping it changing, which more than anything else keeps me fresh. Mm-hmm. When I've been doing my main keynote, there's a portion of that I've been doing for 20 years. And so, boy, do I have that one memorized, right? So if I keep doing it over and over again, I get stale and the audience can feel it. So by adding out of the blue a new exercise, just last week, I tried a new exercise I've never tried before. Boy, I did not like it at all, but I tried it and it kept me on my game. It kept me fresh and energetic. And isn't that what they're paying us for, is to show up and deliver?
Continue to reinvent, and even your content, the way you do things, the way you approach things. I love it. Laurie, you are a wealth of information. I knew when I asked, I said, I got to get her here. I got to talk to her. Thank you so much. Now, we have so many speakers listening at all different levels. How can they reach out and find you?
Well, I have some great free tools that I want to send them to. So if they will go to the URL unlockthegoodies.com, and when you get there, type in the password, all caps, NSA, and it's going to open up a vault of information for them, which includes my downloadable guide called 93 Ways to Get Booked and Get Paid. So there's something for all level of speakers in that research document. I know you do. And there's also a video that I recorded on how to do the sweet spot pricing, along with a pick list of 100 ways that you can change the way you're currently doing your proposals. And there's a whole bunch of other goodies in there. It's really important to me that people know I am not a speaker coach. They cannot hire me in any way, shape, or form. So everything that I have for speakers, it's my way of giving back to this association I love. NSA shaved years off my learning curve. And so although I am not on the board or running for any of those types of offices, this is my small way of saying I believe in every speaker out there having a message to deliver. They just got to know how to sell it. And so everything I have, I give away, and I hope people can really get some value out of that.
Well, you are amazing. You killed it at our New York City chapter. So you're wonderful. Again, that's unlikethegoodies.com. And then type in the code word NSA, correct?
That is correct.
Yes, thank you, Laurie. And
You're
thanks
welcome.
to everyone who joined us. Don't forget to read Laurie's big move in the Speaker Toolkit column in Speaker Magazine. And listen to this video. Send her a little note. Tweet her out. Let her know how much you enjoy this interview. My name is Marquesa Pettway out of New York City.